Ego, Slendy, Ego, Slendy, hey. Hit it out the park. Hit it with a strike. From the national anthem to the bottom of the ninth. I'm in Slendy, Ego, Slendy, Ego, Slendy, Ego, Slendy, hey. You already know what's up. What's that? Another home run. But you know the job ain't done till we hold that trophy up. Hey.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 412 of the Talking Friars podcast and YouTube show. Ben Fadden with you here. It is June 11th, 2023. The Padres, they won the series against the Colorado Rockies. They should have swept it. A disappointing loss today. We're going to talk about that, talk about the other games in this series, and get to some other San Diego sports stuff as well. As I'm waiting to get some people here in the live show, just a reminder, use my code Talking Friars on SeatGeek for $20 off your order there. Click the link in my description, that breakingt.com link for your San Diego sports swag, Aztecs, Wave, Padres, and I'll tell you more about Gaglione Bros and Underdog Fantasy as we get through the show. But yeah, disappointing ending to this series, but there were some encouraging signs definitely from this series. I mean, Blake Snell is pitching like the Cy Young Blake Snell. Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado had a heck of a series, both of them. Jake Cronenworth seems like he's almost back to being the Jake Cronenworth that we are used to seeing, that we've been used to seeing these last couple years, it feels like. You know, that all-star Jake Cronenworth, that guy that is going to get on base most of the time. He's going to give you those competitive at-bats, the short swing, the line drives, going oppo sometimes. Like, it seems like he is pretty back. So there were some good signs, but obviously today we're going to start with today's game. Padres lose 5-4. It was a long one. There was a long delay, and that made it probably even worse, right? You're waiting through that long delay, and then just to see the Padres lose on a walk-off home run, a couple batters into it. They had a lead, then they didn't. They had another lead, then they didn't have it, and then they lose. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that have their thoughts on Bob Melvin and should he have pulled Blake Snell? Why is he putting Luis Garcia in the game there? A lot of people that want to get at Bob Melvin. And you can do so in the chat. Feel free. If you want to come on the show and give your thoughts, you can click the link that is pinned up at the top of the chat and just click that link and you will be in the stream room and I can put you on the show. If you want to make sure I get to your comment or your question, just use that super chat button and I will make sure to get to it. It separates your comment or your question into a different category, so it makes it easy for me to find your comment. All right, and it supports the channel, so I appreciate anyone that does that. So let's start with the beginning of this game, and then we'll work our way through. So obviously Blake Snell was tremendous. He punched out 12 guys. The Padres, they scored 3 runs through 4 innings, 1 in the third, and then they scored 2 in the 4th inning. And that gave Snell the run support, right? And, the Rockies, look, they had a 1-0 lead. And that was like the mistake that Snell made, right? It was 1-0, but then the Padres, they had it 3-1. So Soto had the sac fly, 1-1. Then Croney had the 2-run home run with Bogarts. He was in scoring position, so it counts as a hit with runners in scoring position. I know the Padres, they still struggled with that a little bit this weekend, but that was good. Again, Croney, like that swing, it was not like a home run swing. It was a short swing. He didn't even really finish his swing. Just short, compact, to the ball. I love what I'm seeing there from Croney. So that made it 3-1. And then Snell took it. He took the game all the way through that 7th inning. And then, before he ended the 7th inning, right, he was hit by that line drive. He was struck by that liner off of his foot, and it bounced off, went right to Manny, and Manny threw the runner out at first. So that was great. I think the inning ended there. That wasn't the last out. It was, I think, obviously it was the first or second out of the inning. I forget what out it was, but it was hit pretty hard. It was hit over 100 miles per hour at Snell's foot. So according to Bob Melvin, his ankle, there was some swelling there, and that was part of why he was pulled after 7 innings. And there are a lot of fans that are pissed off, right? And I saw it on social media. They were pissed that Blake Snell was taken out after 7 innings. And I understand it. I said on my post-game reaction before I came on here, like, I get that viewpoint. And this was before Bob Melvin spoke and said that about Snell and this kind of the swelling and wasn't feeling great with that ankle. People were mad because Snell was pitching well. The 12 strikeouts. How many hits did he give up? Like 3, I think. It wasn't very many. Let me see here. 3 hits. Yeah, 7 innings, 3 hits, just 1 run. Didn't walk anyone. 12 punch-outs, 7 innings. Didn't walk anyone. You know you're pitching well when that happens. So everyone was like, what the heck? Snell, this is his good outing, his one good outing at Coors Field. You leave him in there. It's not like he's at 115 pitches. You leave him in there. Let him pitch at least the 8th inning. And I get that point of view. But if Blake's ankle's not great, he's already given you 7 strong innings when, let's be realistic, were the Padres expecting 7 almost shutout innings from Blake Snell today? 7 innings, 12 punch-outs. Were they expecting that today with no walks? Probably not. They got what they wanted out of Blake. So it was time to hand it over to the bullpen. Bob Melvin probably thought, hey, I've got Garcia who hasn't thrown yet, and we signed him to be a high-leverage reliever. He was a high-leverage reliever last year. He's got to pitch. This is a good spot to pitch him. Bob Melvin probably believes in him. And then they have Cosgrove. They obviously had Martinez because he was warming up. He didn't come into the game because he came in and then there was the rain delay, so he already got hot, and the Padres didn't want to send him back out there, especially when he would be pitching on back-to-back-to-back days. I was surprised to see him even be warming up and even going into that game. But he didn't pitch. They had Honeywell, they had Cosgrove, and they had Garcia to cover a couple innings, assuming the Padres held that lead. And so Bomo was like, yeah, good job, Blake. We got what you want. We don't want to push that with the ankle. And so I understand that decision. For me, it comes down to Luis Garcia. I mean, there's a ground ball to first base. Immediately, he doesn't go over to cover. And as a pitcher, this is like high school stuff, little league stuff. Ground balls hit to first, you run over to go cover first base. That's what you do as a pitcher. This isn't like, again, it's like high school stuff. And he didn't immediately run. He just stood there, and then he went over. And it's like, no, sorry, dude, that's too late. So he doesn't get over there. Runner gets on, and of course he gives up a home run. So 2 bad things, right? Gives up the homer, and he doesn't cover first in time. Didn't go over there immediately. So the game's tied. If Garcia goes over immediately and covers first, the runner's out, gives up a home run. Okay, well, the game's tied. Or actually, no. In that spot, it would have been a 1-run game. I'm saying the game would have been tied at the end of 9, assuming that the home run still would have been hit by McMahon, right? Yeah, assuming so. If McMahon, yeah, because I'm just going back into this game here. I just want to make sure I got the score right. Because in that spot that Garcia gave up the home run, because the Padres, they had the lead. And then, 2-run home run, it was 3-3. So if Garcia would have gotten over, would have covered first in time, that would have been a 3-2 game on the Coco Montes home run. That was his first big league home run, by the way. That would have been 3-2. Then in the 9th, Kim scored. That would have made it 4-2. Then there was the home run by McMahon. 4-3, home run by Nolan Jones, who ended up walking it off. 4-4 instead of 5-4. So I think the attention should be on Garcia instead of Bomel in this spot, but maybe that's just me. I understood the decision after the explanation from Bomel. I understood why he took out Snell in that spot. Like, he already gave him the strong 7 innings. The ankle obviously was not 100%. And you had to pitch Garcia at some point. Like, it's his job to come through in that spot and be aware of when a ball's hit to first base. You got to go cover immediately. And he didn't do that. So that's on him. Look, this offense, we can talk about the offense too. Like, they should have swept this series, and we would have felt I think we would have felt much better about the Padres here if they would have gotten the sweep, obviously. But like, runners in scoring position today, 1 for 7. They got the win yesterday, and runners in scoring position was 1 for 12. Good night, obviously, in the first game of the series, and we can talk about that. But the runners in scoring position, despite winning the series, it's still not good. So, like, the problems are still not fixed all the way here. But you would have took the wins. You would have took the win. You would have took the series sweep. Like, with where the Padres are right now, you gotta sweep these series at some point, right? Especially against teams like the Rockies. You get a great start from Blake Snell. How many more of those are you going to get, especially at Coors Field? You got to win those games. And because now, instead of winning 3 there, it was only a net positive of 1 instead of 3, if that makes sense. Because you had one of your wins canceled out by a loss. So, and the Rockies were a last place team. It's not like they were gaining games on them. Snell, by the way, on his ankle, it swelled up after the 7th. X-rays negative. I'm good. He says he's going to be ready to go for his next outing. You want to hear from Bob Melvin? Let's play Bob Melvin after the game, kind of explain the Snell thing, even though I already kind of said it. Explain the Snell situation and just the game.
Bullpen today, but what are you going to make of the way things went late? Was the rain at all a factor there for those guys?
You know what? Both teams have to play in the conditions. So, no. Yeah, we were short some, but still, Blake pitched great. We felt we were in a good position to finish it out. Did that.
Was the decision to go to bullpen in the 8th inning, is that related to the foul?
Yeah, it was bothering him a little bit. But, it's 7 innings either way. Pitched really well, but that factored in, yeah.
How encouraging was what Blake was able to do today?
He's on a roll now, similar to what we've seen in a lot of his second halves. So, last, 3 or 4 outings, he's been really good, but today probably the best. Just the one changeup for a home run and strikes out 12 in 7 innings.
What was the mechanics? Martinez ran in and looked like they were covering the field at that time.
We were going to use Martinez to close, even though it was 3 days in a row with him. But with the rain starting like that, and with us not knowing if we were going to score, we were comfortable with Cosgrove going out for McMahon, and then bring in Martinez after that. But after the rain delay, I wasn't going to use him after this would have been his 3rd day in a row and warming up already.
And that makes sense. That makes sense.
What did you make of it?
Look, you're going to be put in tough spots. So he gets a couple outs and throws a fastball, and in this ballpark, and you're always one pitch away potentially that happening. Unfortunately, that happened.
We're talking a little bit lately about 1-run games. You had in there yesterday. I mean, you didn't win 3 straight, but to come out of the series like this, was it frustrating to lose a 1-run game like that?
Yeah, especially after we've been
Obviously.
playing, and we feel like we're back. Doing situationally, doing some good things. Obviously, we didn't get the safety down, but ended up scratching across a run. Just didn't finish out, and obviously the state of our bullpen had a little something to do with it.
Like Garcia did not help himself, slow to cover first base.
Yep.
How big was that? What did you see? What he did?
That was big. I don't know if he turned the other way, but when he started, I think he realized he wasn't going to get there in time, and obviously that ended up being big.
Is Blake physically? I mean,
yeah, they took an X-ray. There's no fracture, so I think they minimized the swelling here in between, and
That's good.
I got a good feeling about him making his next start.
No fracture. It's good. I saw someone in the chat talk about the initial diagnosis of Snell and that really not mattering. Well, if they said there's no fracture, a fracture can just appear overnight. I don't think so. So right now, I expect Blake to make his next start, so that's good. A disappointing loss, obviously. Like the runners in scoring position, it's still an issue. I don't think we should let this series win distract us from the fact that the runners in scoring position thing is still a problem. But there's encouraging signs this series. Tatis had one heck of a series. In the first night, 2 hits. In the second night, 2 hits. That was the day game. And then today, 2 hits. 6 hits in the series for Tatis in his OPS is now over 840. Average is over 270. Manny, one heck of a series from him. We'll obviously get to that catch that he made yesterday when I talk about yesterday's game. But today, yeah, he went over, but he had a 3-hit day yesterday, and then he had a 2-hit day in the first game of the series, and he had a home run, I believe, in that game, right? So obviously you look at like the OPS number for Manny, 670, like that's still not good, but he had a long period of time there at the beginning where he was not playing like the Manny Machado that we're used to seeing. So it's going to take a while to climb that mountain to get back up to looking like Manny Machado, those stats looking like that. Okay, let's look at the chat here again. If you want to make sure I get to your comment, use that super chat button. It also supports myself, so I appreciate that very much. Raul says, Garcia looks like he enjoys giving away the games. SMH. Yeah, I mean, for this to be his first outing back from the IL, yeah, that was not a great return for sure. ABCDEFG says Bob Melvin is an idiot. I don't think he's an idiot. Look, he had reasoning for the Snell thing, and I don't always defend Bomo. I think most of the decisions I can defend him on, because sometimes like it comes down to the players. I know there's fans that don't like to put all of the blame on the players when things don't work out, even though they're the ones on the field. They want to point fingers at the manager or whoever. Like sometimes it's down to the player. And today, like I think it's on Luis Garcia. There was reasoning to take Snell out, and Garcia was going to pitch in this game, and he didn't do his job. So that's where I'm leaning on this. Brent says if Bomo let Snell go out for the 8th and he got rocked, people would be bitching about how he left Blake in too long. Yeah, see, that's the thing about managing, right? You have faith in your guy and he falls off. Well, you left him in too long. You pull a guy to avoid him falling off. I'm not saying Blake would have. I'm just saying, like, you pull a guy because you think it's a good time to do that. You go to a guy in the bullpen you trust, and he isn't on his night, doesn't have a good day. People are like, why'd you pull that starting pitcher, you idiot? That's just the way it goes. But Bomo knows that. Matt says, it's not Melvin, it's the team. I thought the Royals and Reds were horrific, but this Rockies roster may be worse than the A's. Yeah, and the Padres, they won the series, but it was a 1-run win yesterday, and they lost today in a game that they should have won. So, yeah, not everything's fixed. I don't want to come on here and make it seem like everything's fixed, even if I do talk about some of the positives that I saw from this series. Austin says, people are overreacting about Melvin. Snell got hit in the foot with a liner over 100 miles per hour. Sure, maybe not Garcia, but I don't blame Snell being pulled. Yeah, and let's say he didn't go to Garcia, who should have been used in that spot? I post that bullpen chart at Talking Friars on Twitter and Instagram before every game. And if you look at the bullpen chart, I was talking about it on my pregame thoughts today, Hader was not going to be used. And yes, that's frustrating. Should the Padres give Josh Hader $100 million if he can't pitch back-to-back days and he can only pitch 1 inning? Probably not. But that's just the thing. That's just what it is with Hader. He's not going to get used in 3 days in a row when it's June 11th. They don't really even do that in the postseason, and they don't even do that really in the postseason if he's going to pitch more than an inning. They don't even really do that. It's Hader for an inning. So he wasn't going to be used today. Cut him off. Steven Wilson, 27 pitches yesterday. I guess he could have come in. Did you want them to go to Honeywell there over Garcia in that spot? Maybe you do. Cosgrove, I mean, do you want them to go to Cosgrove in that spot? Cosgrove ended up giving up a home run in this game. I'm not going to get on Cosgrove. That was his first earned run that he's allowed so far this year. So it's hard for me to get on him there. And it was in the pouring rain when he gave the home run to McMahon, by the way. He relies on that ball moving, right, on the breaking pitches. Like that's his out pitch. And I think is it a curveball or slider? Whatever it is, it's freaking nasty. He relies on it. And so in the rain, I don't know if that's the best combination. So I don't know if they really wanted to do that. Nick Martinez, they probably wanted to not use him. But, I mean, he was warming up. So you can make a case that they could have had him pitch in that spot. Look, they wanted to get Garcia in the game and probably want to give him the closing spot. So the 8th inning was the only spot for him to pitch because at that point they had the lead. So I was fine with him, with Bomo going with Garcia. For me, it's Garcia has to do a better job of doing his job. Like, that's just what it is. Matt says Snell got Kevin Cash again in a meaningless game this time. Well, this game's not meaningless, but obviously it's not game 6 of the World Series. And that's different. Like, Snell pitched 7 innings and he got hit in the ankle by a ball that was hit back at him over 100 miles per hour. Like, there was a reason to take him out. Where the World Series, he was pitching really well and there was no like injury and they pulled him. That's worse than this, I think. Especially when Kevin Cash was going to a overtaxed bullpen at that point. Raul says Garcia has been dog-ass all season. Well, I mean, he's going to pitch at some point, right? And the Padres, they want to get him back to being that high-leverage reliever. And today with the bullpen situation, like today was the time for him to pitch in that spot. Matt says they are nearly 10 back of the Diamondbacks now. They'll never catch them and or the Dodgers. It's going to be tough. I don't want to totally rule out them not catching the Diamondbacks because I just don't believe the Diamondbacks are going to keep up this pace all year long. I mean, what is their record right now? 40-25, 15 games over. They're going to be 15 games over the rest of the year. I just don't believe that. I don't. And someone can clip this and post it at the end of the year when the Diamondbacks make the postseason and they're still 15 games over 500. And I will admit, yep, I was wrong, but I just don't believe that. So I'm not ruling out the D-backs. I think the Dodgers, I know the Dodgers are below the D-backs right now, but I believe in them being consistent and continuing to win more than I do the Arizona Diamondbacks. D-backs, they have a good core, got some good young players, Torey Lovullo as the manager. Like, they're growing, they're getting better. But can they continue this the whole year? I don't know. Are they going to be big buyers at the deadline? I don't know about that either. I'm just going through the comments here. Some people have some thoughts on today's loss. JD's third, extremely disappointing series. Rockies should have been swept once again. We can't perform against horrible starting pitching. The error and wild pitch are the only reason we tied in the ninth. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're talking about the offense. Kim scoring on that wild pitch. Yeah, I mean, it would look, the Padres, they tied that game. It was not very encouraging the way that they did. I get it. I'm still just focused more on Garcia today and the end of that game there than the Padres offense not being able to do their job, because at the end of the day, they did have a lead and they should have still had the lead after Garcia finished there, because Garcia should have immediately went and covered first base. But no, the offense has not been fixed. So I agree with that. JD's third. Yeah, now the Padres, they have the Guardians coming up. They have an off day on Monday. And then the Guardians Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then they have the Tampa Bay Rays, the best team in baseball. I think they have the best record in baseball still. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Even if like Glasnow doesn't pitch, I don't even know who's coming up for the Rays that weekend. If he doesn't even pitch, I mean, it's still going to be hard. You know, the Rays don't get there just by one guy. I know that's a big guy that people think about with the Rays, but it's not just him. Carlos says, I'm just hearing excuses for Bomel. Are you? I'm just hearing valid reasons why Blake Snell was taken out. If you look, I understood those fans that were pissed off in the moment why Blake Snell was taken out of the game there at the end of the 7th inning, because you didn't have the information of after the game. Oh, Blake, after getting hit in the ankle, it was swelling and he wasn't 100%. And that factored in. Like, you didn't have that. So I understood it. But now that you have that and you still think Snell definitely should have been out there in the 8th inning. You can have that opinion, but I think you should understand why Snell was taken out there. And you should be more mad at Luis Garcia than Bomel for taking Blake Snell out. All right, quick break, and then I'll be back. Check out Gaglione Bros' famous cheesesteaks and garlic fries on Friars Road. You can visit their website, gaglionebros.com, for their entire menu and enjoy their cheesesteaks and fries at Petco Park and Snapdragon Stadium as well. Yeah, so at the end there, I did want to at least mention how much it was pouring. I know I probably hit on that earlier, but like Cosgrove coming in when it was pouring, and they were only still playing in that spot because they wanted to end the game. Like the Padres, they had the lead, right? Before the McMahon home run, they had the lead. And so they were going to play through it because they thought, hey, let's take 5 minutes here in the bottom of the ninth. Let's get through this. But then they obviously didn't. And then when McMahon tied it with the home run to make it 4-4, well, it's still pouring. Might as well just go into the delay. And so that took Martinez out of it, which sucked because I probably would have rather seen Martinez in there over Honeywell. But hey, that's just what happened. And then to wait all that time just to see, walk-off home run. All right, game over. That sucked. KJ comparing the 2021 Giants to the D-backs this year. Yeah, D-backs coming off a bad 2022. Look at them now. Yeah, but I think there's some differences there between those two teams. Giants were much more of a veteran team. And the D-backs this year, I think they're more of a younger team. Like their core, it's young. It's not old vets going for one last try, Dominic DeFalco says, Honeywell experiment needs to end. Why? Like, who would you rather have up here over Honeywell? Who can pitch multiple innings if you want him to? He's pitched in high-level spots this year and done well. In fact, now that you bring Honeywell up, I do want to look at his game logs here to see if you are right, because I don't think he's as bad as you think he's been. Okay, so his last outing, he gave up a run. Outing before that, didn't give up any runs. Didn't give up any runs the outing before that. Maybe the outings where he's given up a couple, like May 28th against the Yankees, he gave up a couple runs, 2 innings. There was the outing against the Twins way back May 11th, gave up 3 runs. So maybe those outings are sticking out in your head today. Recency bias sticking out in your head. But so far this year, I think he's done his job pretty well. And when you're pitching multiple innings, giving up 1 run, I don't know if that's the end of the world. And Honeywell, if you're looking at like the bullpen and the guys like if you're going to power rank the bullpen, right? Guys that you want in these high leverage spots. Yeah, Honeywell's not probably in the top 3. I get that. But you got to realize where this bullpen situation was today for this game. No Hader. They probably wanted to avoid using Steven Wilson. Okay, Martinez was available. But how would you rank the guys that were available then? Would you go Martinez 1? Is it Cosgrove right after that? And Honeywell somewhere after that, maybe after Hill? Because people in the chat here, they don't trust Luis Garcia, so you can't put him up there. And Cosgrove already pitched. Carlton pitched 28 pitches yesterday. So who are you going to go to there? Yeah, and Teddy says it was the first bad bullpen game in a while. Yeah, I mean, the bullpen I saw something I forget where it was, so I apologize to whoever who tweeted this out today, but it was like not bullpen, but pitching staff, Padres pitching staff stats, and they were like ranked first in a lot of different categories. So, and that obviously includes the bullpen. So the bullpen's been good this year. But Garcia, for me, at least today, Garcia sticks out. Omar says, I'm torn between being upset at this loss or it just being a stupid loss. Also, are we really keeping Nola still? Nick should have came in instead of Luis. Let's get the homestand rolling. Yeah, well, I think it seems like they were trying to use Nick later in the game, but Nick came in during the rain right when the rain delay started, so he was already warmed up, and then there was the rain delay, so they weren't going to pitch him. They had to waste him because of the rain delay. And are we really keeping Nola still? Yes, because Camposano's hurt, and who else are they going to go to? They're going to bring up Brett Sullivan. I don't think that would be the worst idea, but we know that the Padres pitching staff values Austin Nola there, and they probably want him up at the big league level for a good amount of time, because if they're going to have Sullivan come up and Nola not be there, they want one of those catchers to be very familiar with the pitching staff, and Gary's not at that point. Like, he just got here, so they probably want to give it some more time where Nola can at least be the familiar guy there and help out, because he's involved in those meetings before the game and all that. And he's still trusted. I know fans don't want to hear that, but he's still trusted by the pitching staff. Have him there till Gary and the pitching staff get comfortable with each other before they bring up Sullivan. But it's not like Sullivan was tearing apart the world either. I like having a lefty catcher and a righty catcher. And right now it's two righties, Nola and Sanchez. But it's not like Sullivan was hitting 300 and they sent him down so that Nola could have a spot on the roster. All right, I'll get to more of the chat, but I wanted to hit on a couple of the other games in this series. So on Saturday, Padres, they won 3-2. But again, like I talked about a little bit earlier, the runners in scoring position, 1 for 12. They left 10 guys on base. So I don't want to make it seem like yesterday was this amazing win. Now, Tatis came up with a clutch 2-run single. You got to give props to him on that, and he had a really good series. He had multiple hits in every game of the series. But obviously, yeah, the runners in scoring position is still an issue. Ryan Weathers, he started this game for the Padres. 3 innings of work, 1 earned run, 3 hits, no walks on 43 pitches. I thought he pitched pretty well. My expectations weren't very high for Ryan, especially going into Coors Field. But, hey, you got to give it to him. Now, some were like, well, why the heck is Weathers being pulled this early? But it feels like that was just the plan. Like, they were going to go to, I think it was Carlton after Weathers. They were just going to do that because Weathers, he struggled his last time out. They were probably thinking the same thing as us. Like, let's just get Weathers a few innings, 4 innings maybe. It didn't go 4, but get him some innings. Let's get some confidence back up in him if he does have a good outing, which he ended up having. And then let's go to the bullpen. Blake, he's been pitching well. Hopefully we can get a good start out of him on Sunday. They ended up getting that, and we can get through the series that way because we won't have to use a ton of relievers with Snell if he has a good start. Maybe that's what the Padres were thinking. So Weathers, yeah, maybe he was pulled too early, but if that's the way they were thinking, I guess that's understandable. Although he only threw 96 pitches 2 starts ago. 44 the outing before that against the Cubs where he sucked. But he threw 43 yesterday. That's a big gap. 96 and a little over 40 pitches. But the bullpen was great. So the bullpen wasn't that great today, but yesterday it was pitching like it has been for most of this season. Wilson, Hill, Martinez, Hader combined for 7 shutout innings, no runs allowed, 1 walk, 4 punch-outs, 1 hit allowed. You going to ask for more than that? Probably not. Like, I was totally fine with that. That was a great performance there, and they were able to hold on for that 1-run win. Gary Sanchez, shocker, coming through again. Wasn't a home run, but an RBI single, drove in Manny. Manny, by the way, scored from, I think, first on that play. Yeah, that was not a great scene for those who think that Manny doesn't hustle, right? That was not great for those people. Yesterday, just in general, was not great for the Manny doesn't hustle crowd, huh? He has a double. He scores from first. He makes a great play at third base. I'm not talking about the one down the line. I'm talking about the deep throw that he had to make. And obviously, the play in the 8th inning may be his best play that he's made. And of course, there's some Manny haters that are like, oh, well, he should have just caught it regularly. And the ball missed his glove. That it tipped off his glove. It shouldn't have even happened in the first place. It's like people just love to hate just to hate. You know, you can't appreciate, oh, well, he rebounded from it while he was falling to the ground. Oh, and there's a runner on third base in that situation. And he had the presence to immediately, after making a miraculous catch, he had the presence to immediately throw it in so the runner didn't score the game-tying run in a one-run game in the 8th inning. People don't want to appreciate that. The Manny haters, maybe they're Dodger fans, I don't know. They want to focus on, well, I saw someone in the comments somewhere, I forget if it was social media or here, oh, well, Max Muncy would have made that catch on the fly. Like, shut up. I mean, just can we appreciate how good of a play that was to rebound from it? And it's not like it was a pop-up, just a nice, easy pop-up where he dropped it and rebounded from it. He was going towards the line. His back, I believe, right? If I go watch this play again, his back was literally towards the plate. I'm going to find this play again. Yeah, he's running down the line here. It's a one-run game, runner on third. And he's going down the line because he's obviously starting at third base. He runs backwards towards the line with his back towards home to try to make like almost a basket catch. And it hits off his glove because that's a hard play to make. And then after hitting off his glove a couple times, hits him in the face or in the nose, I think, right? And then he's falling and is able to make the catch and then immediately throw into home. I'm sorry. That's an amazing play. And for those people that don't want to appreciate that, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you want to have a life where you want to hate on things all the time. Sorry. Hopefully you can find some positivity. I mean, some people, they just hate to hate. It sucks. But yeah, what a day for Manny yesterday. Getting back to the positives, what a day for Manny. He finished yesterday, let's see here. 3 for 5, scored the run of the game on the hustle run on the Sanchez RBI. And then obviously the great defensive plays. And then it was Friday, right? Where he made that tremendous extra homering on Friday's game. He makes that play going, I think that was on Friday. He goes down the line and makes his classic fadeaway throw. I mean, he is one of the best defensive third basemen this game has ever seen. We've ever seen. Doesn't matter if you're 60, doesn't matter if you're 20. One of the best defensive players we've ever seen. And hopefully, people will appreciate that. I know Padres fans do, but obviously there's still some that are always going to want to try to hate him, and that just sucks for those people. But yeah, Saturday, I got to give major props to the bullpen and give props to Ryan Weathers. I know you saw in the dugout he was pissed off about being taken out, but I think that going in, that would have been the plan. If he was pissed, if that was the plan, he probably wouldn't have been that pissed off about it, right? Because he would have known, 3 innings, there we go. That was the plan. So maybe it wasn't. And the Padres just said, hey, let's just build on this. You had a good outing, and we're going to take you out. It's Coors Field. We want to keep your confidence up. And he was like, no, F that. I want to go out there. I'm pitching well. Keep me out there. I'm at less than 50 pitches. What are we doing here? So I understand if that was not like the plan, it wasn't communicated to him before the game. I understand why why Weathers would have been frustrated with that. But hey, the Padres, they got the win, one of their few one-run wins. I think that was their fourth one-run win of the season. That's it. They were the best one-run team in the majors last year. Like, that's a big difference this year to last year. And so, again, those that say, oh, Bo Mel's the problem. Well, Bo Mel was managing when they were the best in baseball in one-run games last year. So there's some times where you could say, yeah, he's maybe made the wrong move, or what is he doing in that spot? But it's not every game. Like, I see people on social media, if something doesn't work out, oh, fire Bo Mel. Bo Mel's the problem. Maybe it's just the player that didn't do his job in that spot, you know. Talking about Friday's game, Padres won that one 9-6. They got a winning streak, right? So that was their second straight win. Then their third straight win came on Saturday. But that's their longest win streak of the year, right? I don't think they've won 4 games in a row yet. The last time they won 3 games in a row was the end of April, I think. End of April going into May. May 1st, that third win. That was Tatis's first actual home game back at Petco Park. Obviously, they had the 2 home games in Mexico City against the Giants, but his actual first home game, May 1st. That was that third straight win, and they hadn't had that since then. So that shows the inconsistency of this team, right? Up, down, or up, down, up, you know, just inconsistency. But Friday night, I mean, this was like a Coors Field game. 15 runs combined between the two, 25 hits in total. Darvish ended up getting his 100th career win, so congratulations to him on that. Top 3 guys in the order combined for 6 hits. Tatis had 2, Soto had 2, Manny had 2, including a home run. Gary Sanchez had a home run. Fernando had a home run. Grish had an opposite field home run. Who else? Am I forgetting someone else? I feel like Dixon homer, right? Brandon Dixon. He moved to center. That made it 9-4. In the 8th, Moustakas had a home run, made it 9-6. You know, the game was closer than we wanted it to be, but I was encouraged by the offense. Like, I was thinking, hey, maybe they can get going here. Like, obviously, I'm not going to say this is the turnaround, this is the turning point, because they've got to show a bigger sample size of doing this consistently. But hey, it was good. And then the offense, you know, it wasn't that strong the last 2 games of the series. But I thought it was a good team win, I thought. You know, yeah, he gave 6 runs, and Darvish had walks and gave up 4 earned runs. But if you look at most of Darvish's outing, it was good. The runs that he gave up, so he gave up 1 run in the 3rd. And he didn't give up any more runs until the 6th inning, when maybe Bo Mel left him in a little bit too long, but they had a pretty big lead at that point. It was 8-1 entering the bottom of the 6th. After Nando had that homer, left center, 8-1. It was 8-1. And then Grichuk doubled, 8-2. Montero made it 8-4. But Darvish was not pitching at that point. But he did allow runners. But he also, you know, during this outing, he got into spots where, you know, back-to-back walks, runner in scoring position. Excuse me, sorry. Runner in scoring position, and he ended up getting out of that. Sorry, water break. So I thought mostly overall, that was a pretty good outing from Darvish. You know, the end there, yeah, it started to fall off, but that's what I've seen from Darvish. You know, at the end, it sort of falls off, or at the beginning, you know, maybe rough beginning, but then the rest of the outing, he's good. Or good outing, and then maybe at the end there, it starts to fall off. So maybe Bo Mel, Ruben Niebla, they have to kind of decide, all right, is this the time where we should pull him so he doesn't start to fall off a little bit at the end? But I think they wanted to get 6 innings out of Darvish there. And they ended up not getting all the way through 6, 5 1/3. 5 1/3 was the line. 5 hits, 4 walks, 6 punch outs, 4 earned runs. Croney, you know, I was mentioning him near the top of the show, the encouraging signs that I've seen from Croney. I mean, opposite field hits. Had a 3-hit day on Friday, 3 for 5, tripled to left center in the 9th. Shorter swing. Today, I saw him in one of the, at least I know in one of the at-bats, he was choking up. Like you could tell the approach, like he is trying to change the approach to try to get something going, because this has not been the same Jake Cronenworth that we're used to. Seems like the swing has been longer. And when you are striking out, it does seem like that. But even if you're looking past the strikeouts and you're just looking at the swing and you didn't know that he was struggling, you're just looking at the swing, you could still probably tell, yeah, it's a long swing. Maybe uppercutting, maybe not like a line drive swing. And you could tell he was pressing. Like there was a lot of F-bombs. You could tell. And so it's good that he's getting back to being that Jake Cronenworth that we have seen, going into this year. And I know some people are going to say, well, no, even last year, Ben, his numbers were going down. Yeah, but it was still a better Jake Cronenworth than this year. Like we can all recognize that, right? So hopefully Jake can continue this. The opposite field hits, not trying to do too much, shorten swing. I like what I'm seeing. Like, again, the home run today was not even a full swing. That was just a kind of like a golf shot a little bit. Like the ball was down, right? Ball was down and he just took it where it was pitched, which was inside, and he pulled it and got it over. Anything else I wanted to hit on from Friday's game? I mean, Austin Gomber, that's like the Austin Nola trade for the Rockies. Gomber was like one of the main pieces back in that Arenado trade to the Cardinals. And he has a 7.57 ERA. He was getting crushed early by the Padres. Crushed. The Rockies gave the Cardinals $50 million and Nolan Arenado. Yeah, take him. Go ahead, take him. That franchise, man. But obviously, AJ has some bad trades too. The Austin Nola one. That's one you think of, that's for sure. All right, getting back to the chat, Matt says the D-backs are built for the new rules as well. You're talking about stealing bases. Feels like they steal a lot of bags, huh? And Corbin Carroll, I mean, he's the main guy, right? Like, you think of the D-backs, Corbin Carroll, he's going to have a bright future, I would imagine. Oh, yeah, by the way, did I mention this? 15 hits for the Padres on Friday. 15 hits. They followed it up with 9 hits yesterday. 7 today, so it went down from there. But that was, look, it's hard to replicate a 9-run performance. They did that back-to-back games, but there was the off day in between. They had that series finale where they scored, I think, 10 runs. Off day, first game in Colorado, scored 9 runs, and then couldn't do that again in any of the other games in the series. Look, this Padres team, like, I'm going to take the series win, right? Like, good job, won the series, but you're disappointed that they weren't able to come away with the sweep, obviously. Because when they're under 500 like this, right? Right now, the Padres, they sit 31-34, 4th in the NL West. If you want to gain ground, you got to sweep these series, especially against teams like the Colorado Rockies. You got to sweep these series because the Dodgers are going to sweep the Rockies at some point this year, you would think. The D-backs, the way they're playing, they could do that. Rockies are 27-40. And it's not like you were down the whole game and it's like, oh, okay, you won the series, you were down. It's understandable more. No, you had a couple leads in this game, and some of the guys didn't do their jobs. And Blake, man, he either doesn't get run support or he gets some run support, leaves with the lead, and then the bullpen doesn't allow him to get the win because they blow it. Feel bad for him, huh? I think we should, and by the way, I'm surprised I haven't hit on this already. With Blake Snell, should we be changing our expectations of him? Instead of expecting him to go 5, maybe 6 innings, should we expect him to go 6 innings? Like that, should that be our minimum expectation for Blake Snell now? The way that he is pitching? I think that's a fair a fair thing to expect of him now. I think he would put those expectations on him. And I'm saying that because of Gary Sanchez catching him now. I know on the broadcast this weekend, Blake, he hadn't allowed a run with Gary Sanchez behind the plate, and then like 30 seconds later, he gives up the home run. But that was the only run that he allowed. That's 4 straight starts now from Blake Snell, where he has went, well, there was one start where he went 5 innings, but 4 straight starts where he has allowed 1 run or 0 runs. Today, on Sunday, obviously, he allows 1 run, 7 innings. Doesn't walk anyone, strikes out 12. June 5th, 6 innings. Gives up just 2 hits, no runs, 8 punch-outs. May 31st, 6 innings. No runs, 7 punch-outs. May 25th against the Nats, 5 innings. Allowed some base runners, but he got out of some jams. I think I remember a bases loaded jam that he got out of. 5 innings, 1 run, 6 punch-outs. I mean, he's been great since Gary Sanchez started being behind the plate. And Gary obviously has the most home runs by a single player off of him, I think, with 5. So Gary knows him well, and this is working. Should they sign Blake in the offseason? Like, that's a discussion down the road, obviously. Like, there's a long time the rest of this year that might dictate our thoughts on that, right? But for now, the way he's pitching, I think we should change our expectations. We should expect 6 innings out of Blake. Is he going to walk guys still? Yeah, he will walk guys still. I don't think we should expect him to go 6 innings and allow no walks every start and punch out double-digit guys. But again, with Sanchez behind the plate, the way that he's pitching right now, he looks like second half Blake Snell right now. And so as long as that continues, our expectation should be quality start for Blake Snell every time out. Not, well, I'll be happy if he gets into the 6th inning and let's hope he doesn't walk 4 guys. No, I think we should expect, 6 innings minimum, kind of like Musgrove or Darvish. Maybe not as long as like Darvish would go or Musgrove consistently. But yeah, I think 6 innings is reasonable. All right, I'm going to get to the chat here after this break. I want to tell you about the best and easiest way to play fantasy sports. It's Underdog Fantasy. They have great pick'em games and best ball tournaments. In pickup games, just pick higher or lower on 2 to 5 players' stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in a single night. You can go cross-team, cross-league, and even cross-sport. Best ball revolves around the draft, which is what every fan loves the most about fantasy, and it eliminates the hassle of having to manage your roster all season long, resulting in a fun and easy fantasy product. How does it work exactly? You enter a contest where you participate in a snake draft against other users. That lineup that you drafted competes against every other draft in the entire contest. The better the combined performance of your team, the more money you win. After your lineup is all played, Underdog will take the best performing players and automatically set them as your starting lineup. That's it. No waivers, no trades, no worrying about who to start or sit. After you complete your draft, your part is done. Underdog Fantasy offers best ball in a variety of ways, including daily contests, weekly contests, playoff contests, and season-long contests. You can either enter into these and compete against thousands of other entrants for huge prizes, or, if you'd like, you can enter into a private draft with friends and family to compete for a smaller prize pool. Underdog keeps it super simple with their easy-to-use website and mobile apps. Sign up now by clicking the link in the description or by using the promo code TALKINGFRIARS, and you'll double your first deposit up to $100 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit of $10 or more. So if you deposit $100, you get $100 free. If you deposit $10, you get $10 free. All right, I'm just going through the chat here. I see a super chat from Jeff the Crusher. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you have a comment in there, just put it in the comments. You don't need to leave another super chat. Because I don't see. Oh, okay. Is 4 runs at Coors the same as 1 at Petco? Maybe. I mean, you look at the history of Coors Field, yeah, there's usually more runs scored at Coors. Sure. Eddie says we hit the 4-run mark today. Most of the time we win those games. Yeah, but at Coors Field, it's a little bit different. I think the offense would say it still needs to step it up. 2 games or 3 games in a row, 3 wins in a row, that's good. But this team, there's still a higher potential with this team. And even in those 3 wins, they had 2 good offensive performances, right? A bunch of runs in those first 2 of those 3 wins. But then the third game, they still left a lot of opportunities out there with runners in scoring position, right? KJ says the offense is Charlie Brown, man. Swing and miss, worst batting average with runners in scoring position. Yeah, it needs to get better still. Dominic asked, what is Grisham doing with that bunt? Yeah, so that was, what inning was that? That was the 9th inning, right? It ended up not mattering because they ended up scoring on the wild pitch. I think, right? Yeah, so Carpenter had that single. This was when it was 3-3 today. 3-3. Carp singles. Ha-Seong Kim gets to third. So Grish is trying to lay a bunt down to bring that runner in. And he pops up. The ball was going to hit him. He goes down for the bunt, and it's a breaking ball coming right at his face. And so maybe that was just reaction, I'm going to get hit in the face, so I'm just going to continue trying to bunt this. But yeah, he probably should have gotten out of the way of that one, but it's easy for me to say just watching from the couch on television. But yeah, popped it up. That wasn't great, but the Padres, they got lucky. And Kim ended up scoring there because no one else got a hit after that. So it's not like a run would have been driven in if the wild pitch didn't happen. But, I mean, the Padres, they ended up losing anyway. It's not like they got that run and they ended up winning the game or anything. They ended up giving it up, and it was 4-4, and then Nolan Jones obviously had the walk-off after the long rain delay. What a play, by the way. Shout out to Soto and then Manny at the end of that 8th inning to even get to that spot. The Rockies could have had a 4-3 lead going into the top of the 9th anyway, because Tovar lined a ball to left. Soto makes a diving catch, throws it to third because he didn't see the runner stopped, I guess, or maybe the throw was already going when the runner stopped. And so he throws it to third. Manny sees the runner going back to second. He's not there. So Manny, quick throw, just laser to second base at Kim, who gets the out on the double play. I mean, it's very rare. I don't know if I've ever seen, I probably have, but this is just recency bias. When's the last 7-5-4? Because that's what it was, right? 7-5-4 double play. When was the last 7-5-4 double play? I don't remember seeing one. And it was spectacular, too. It wasn't just a line drive where the runner had his head up his butt. No, that was a diving catch. And the runner obviously didn't think, Doyle, he didn't think that Soto was going to get there. Which I don't really blame him because it's Juan Soto playing left, right? He's not, I know, Gold Glove nominee and all that, but come on. He should not be a Gold Glove nominee, at least last year. That's a joke. But it was still a great play. And at that time, Padres, they took the lead in the 9th before giving it up. It was like, man, that saved the game. Kind of like Manny the other day with the great play down the line with for the second out of the inning with that runner on third, the juggling act. Now, the runner on third, he should have tagged. I did see that in the chat, I think, from Matt. The runner should have tagged when Manny first touched the ball, because it's not when he catches it. Once you touch it, you can go. And the runner, I guess he didn't know that rule. He didn't end up tagging and scoring. So if he would have tagged right from when Manny touched the ball, I think he would have scored. But he didn't do it. But still, you can give props to Manny because he still knew the situation. Once Manny caught it, if he didn't know the situation and he didn't immediately fire in, the runner could have still probably scored or still tried it. But Manny still right on his butt threw it immediately. So still props to him for that. Steven says, this kid does a nice job. Thank you. I hope he doesn't become like a lot of these local sports radio hosts that are Padre apologists and promote ideas that are ultimately bad for the fans. I wonder who that is, who you're talking about. I think I know who it is, but... And look, I am a Padres fan, so I'm still going to lean towards the Padres, but I'm still going to give you, like, I give you my honest thoughts. Like, it's not like I'm sitting here and giving you pro Padres thoughts when I'm not actually pro Padres. If I'm leaning towards the Padres in a positive view, like, I'm going to say that. If I don't, I don't. I'm not going to make up stuff just to get people riled up. That's not who I am. I'm an honest fan of the team. If you think I'm too biased for the Padres, because there are some people that have said that, well, then I guess go find someone else. Sorry. I will criticize the Padres when I feel like it, when it's needed. And here we go. Here's a situation. JD's third. Why don't we acknowledge the run in the run in the ninth was due to an error and wild pitch. No offense today at all. Runners in scoring position is still a major issue. Oh, yeah, it's still definitely a major issue. I've said that multiple times today. Today, what'd they go? What did I say they went today? It was like 1 for 12 or something? Or was that yesterday? Let's see. Today, 1 for 7 today. Yesterday was the 1 for 12, 10 left on base. Yeah, that's not good. And we can go through the situations, because obviously Saturday was the worst. I mean, they won the game, but let's see here. I'm just going through these innings. So Croney's on second base in the second inning, and Tatis grounded out 10 in there. In the fourth inning, Bogarts led off the inning with a walk. Couldn't get him over to second. Croney and Kim flying out. Grish doubles. Bogarts third, so they're second and third. And then Nola's up. Can't expect anything from him, but he ends up popping out. And by the way, I had on Underdog Fantasy, I had the higher on Austin Nola. I think it was singles, right? Half singles. And I was like, hey, I'm just going to be optimistic. There's a lot of people bashing Nola. I'm going to be optimistic. If it works out, I'm a genius. If it doesn't, I was just trying to send some good vibes toward him. And he ended up singling. It ended up working out. So you better have picked Nola in that spot. You better have. You would have cashed in on that. Obviously, if you got some others right, because that's how it works with Underdog. It's not like you pick one. It's not just one pick. You have to do multiple. At least 2, I believe. And you can do up to like 6 picks, I think, for like 10 times your money. It's great. But yeah, getting back to JD's third, yeah, runners in scoring position, it's still an issue. And that was just the third inning. I haven't even gone through the rest. Let's see here. Tatis started off the inning in the 5th with a double. And Soto grounded out. Manny grounded out. Sanchez struck out. Couldn't bring him in. You have the meat of your lineup up there. Soto, Manny, Sanchez. Like, those are the 3 guys you up. Those are the 3 guys you want up right now, right? Or maybe put Bogarts in there. But you want those guys up. And they didn't do the job. Like, it continues to be, I know the bottom of the order, you still want them to step up, but it still continues to be the top of the order with, or the middle of the order, with runners in scoring position. When those opportunities present themselves, they've got to come through better, more consistently. There was, after the Nando 2-run single, made it 3-2 on Saturday. That meant that Nola was on third, Tatis on first, and Soto grounded out. So there was another runner in scoring position that they didn't. Look, I'm not saying that they have to go 10 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Just don't have the worst batting average in baseball with runners in scoring position, right? I think that's an okay expectation. I don't think I'm setting the expectations too high. I don't think the Padres fan base is expecting too much from this Padres team. to just be a little bit better with runners in scoring position. You know, these guys making $20 million a year, $30 million a year, just be a little bit better with runners in scoring position, you know? Just, it's easy again for me saying this as a fan just sitting here, but we're also not professional hitters where our job is to do that. Steve says Melvin also mismanaged the bullpen in the playoffs, cost us the Phillies series. I don't think just that cost us. Like, yes, I know obviously the Suarez hater stuff, that's a big one that you look at. I wasn't really mad at that. I've made my thoughts clear on that. I was more mad at, was that game 4? I think it was game 4. Mania, right? So Clevenger sucked, and then Mania comes in, and the Padres, they gave him, did he have 2 leads in that game? I know it was 6-4 at one point, and he blew that one. And so it was Mania not pitching well and Melvin sticking with Mania, I think, for the second inning. When Garcia came into that game later in the inning, might as well just start the inning with Garcia. So I was more mad at that one than the 8th inning Suarez decision. Like, Suarez was pretty much right there with Hader in terms of pitching well in the postseason. Like, they trusted them the same level of trust, those guys at that point. And I would have put the same level. I had the same level of trust in Suarez at that point that I did with Hader. And Hader was one inning guy. That's what he is. And so I wouldn't give him $100 million. I just wouldn't. If you're not going to pitch back-to-back-to-back days and you're not going to pitch more than an inning, you're making $100 million. I'm not paying $100 million to a guy with that. And maybe that's just what physical limits are, but so it's nothing against him, like, personally. And I guess if you want to be healthy, right, you want that big contract. It's not like he's going to change now and be like, oh, I'm willing to go back-to-back-to-back days. I'm willing to pitch 3 innings if you want me to, Skip, when that could increase the chances of injuries. I understand what he's doing, but if that's what he's going to do, I don't want to pay a guy like that $100 million. I want him to shove the rest of the year, be the best reliever in baseball, all-star appearance, be just as he was in the postseason last year. And if they don't sign him, then they don't sign him. You got 2 pennant races out of Josh Hader. If you can't do anything with it, well, then that sucks. Yeah. At least they tried for it. Right? It's obviously unfortunate what's happened with Suarez this year. Hopefully he can come back at some point. I think he's just starting to throw. I don't know if he's had has he had a bullpen session yet? Does anyone know the latest update on him? I know I'm behind the chat, so I'll get to it. But I know he's throwing like actual baseball now, not just one of those plyo balls. But I don't know if he's had a bullpen yet. Someone says, LOL, this dude is like Bomel's nephew. All he does is defend Bomel. It's crazy at this point. That's not true, because I've criticized him already in this show. And I'll bring this point up again. Like, if they were going to part with Bomel, he's going to come in. Bruce Bochy's with the Rangers. Ron Washington? I think Ron Washington's fine with the Braves. Like, the Padres already skipped on him. And you're going to want to bring him in? Well, guess what? Bomel and Ron Washington, those are 2 old school managers. You're going to bring in another first-time manager? And also with AJ, is Peter going to allow him to hire a 4th manager? Andy Green, Jace Tingler, now Bomel. Peter's going to allow him to hire a 4th manager? I think AJ's like, it's Bomel or nothing. You know, I'm riding this out with Bomel. Like, the players that I acquire just have to be better. And I have to make some better trades too. Okay, I'm behind the chat. So I apologize if I don't get to some of these. I'm just scrolling down to see if any stick out to me. If you want to make sure I get to your comment, use that super chat button. Devin says, I'm with Ben, being an optimist. Even with this loss, I still believe the team will make the playoffs and things will only get better from here. I acknowledge there are still issues, but I'm not quitting. Yeah, I tend to be more an optimist, and I think this team's still going to be a postseason team. But as of now, like sitting right now, I'm not that encouraged with the team right now, to be honest. And there's encouraging things with the team, but they still can't be consistent. Like, yeah, they won 3 games in a row, but one of those was not very encouraging. That 3-2 win on Saturday, and the runners in scoring position still isn't that good. And then there's games like today where they should have won. Blake Snell pitched great, and they're not able to go win it. JD's third says, I'm no fan of Bo Mid instead of Bo Mel. I'm no fan of Bo Mid either. And AJ Puppet, Bochy would have kicked AJ's butt by now. Yeah, but did the Padres check in with Bochy? And Bochy just said he didn't want to do it? Because if they checked in with Bochy, I think they would have hired him if Bochy was interested, right? You go with Bochy instead of going with Bo Mel. So I don't think Bochy was interested at that point. And I think it's funny. So fans were saying Jace Tingler, Andy Green, those were AJ's puppets. And now Bomel's AJ's puppet as well, when Bomel has tons of managing experience, way more managing experience than Green and Tingler did combined. I don't think Bomel is an AJ puppet. Do they talk? Yeah. But I think Bomel has more say in the lineup now than Tingler and Andy Green did. That's for sure. And he has more say in like certain decisions, like situational decisions, than Andy Green and Jace Tingler did. Captain Zano says Bob Melvin lost this game. Should have played Hader. Hader was not available. Back-to-back days. They're not doing that on June 11th. June 9th, 10th, and 11th. That's not happening. He was not available. You could have said should have put him in. Okay, but they're not going to do that. Hader's not going to do that, and the Padres aren't going to do that because they want him to be available on the stretch because they think this team's still going to be a postseason team. And they want him to be available in the postseason. They don't want that third day for him to walk off the mound with a trainer. Well, okay, so the Beef says, why did they pitch Hader when we were up 8 runs? This was on Friday, right? The first of the series? Let me double check that. Yeah. It's because he hadn't pitched in a while. If you go look at Hader's game logs, which I'm pulling up right now, he had not pitched in a good amount of time. Let's see. So June 9th? No. Yeah, it was June 9th. June 9th, first game of this series. Or actually, it wasn't actually that long. He pitched a couple days before that, June 7th. But then before that, his game was May 31st. So they wanted to get him some more consistent time. They didn't want him after May 31st to pitch June 7th and then to not pitch again. Like they wanted to get him in. I think that's why. They wanted to get him in some work. And actually, at that point, it wasn't an 8-run game. It was a 3-run game because there was a couple runs given up in the 8th. I think I was joking with my mom. Martinez was being a good teammate at that point. Just, he wanted Hader to get the save. So it was actually a save situation. That's why. Sorry, I totally forgot about that. Man, some of these series, it feels like takes so long. So yeah, it was a save situation at that point. Heath Bell for manager? That's interesting. I mean, he's old school too, so yeah. I don't think that's happening. KO says, I'm okay with this loss, to be honest. We just gotta move forward. I'm not okay with the loss. I mean, I'm happy that they won the series, but I'm not okay with the loss. I mean, they had a couple leads and they didn't win the game. You're facing the Colorado Rockies and you didn't win the game. So I don't think we should be okay with the loss. I think we should point our blame in a different direction for today than where some people here in the chat are doing it. JD Third asks, how many games are we winning this season, Ben? Not 100. Not 100, that's for sure. Well, right now, so they're, let's see, 34th place. 31 and 34. So how many games do they have left? $97 games. So let's say they go, I mean, I want to be really optimistic, but I can't at this point in time. Let's say, what, 55 and, what would that be? 55 and 42? That seems still like, I mean, that's really good baseball. 55 and 42, let's say. That gets you to 85 wins. So that's not even as good as last year. I would say probably around last year's total. I would be pleasantly surprised if they got to like 93 wins. Like, you'd have to be playing really good baseball. I'd be surprised if they got to probably 90 wins. So, yeah, I'd probably say less than 90 right now. For sure. But with the way the National League's playing out right now, like, I don't look at the standings right now, and I'm not going to, just so you know. But I do know that the National League, because I watch MLB Network all the time, like the National League, it's not great right now. The Mets are struggling, the Phillies, it's just the Cardinals, obviously, it's not great. So that's a good thing for Padres fans. Like, they can turn it around and be a postseason team. It's not like there's a bunch of dominant teams in the NL. It seems like the better league this year is the American League. Someone named Bob Melvin's in the chat here. It says 77 wins. Wow. 77? So you're saying they're going to win 47 of their... Oh, no. My bad. What did I say? How many games were left? We're 65 games in, so 97 games. 77 wins. Sorry, I'm doing a lot of different things at this moment right now, so sorry. 30. They're 30 wins. No, I'm looking at the wrong game. 31 wins. So you say they're going to win 46 games, 46 of their next 97? So they're going to have a losing record the rest of the 46 and 51. I think that's what the math works out to. I think they can be over 500 the rest of the time. Or like they finish like their next the 97 games that they have, I think they can finish above 500 in those 97 games. Yes, thank you, Matt. Sorry. Math is not my strong suit. 46 and 51. Yep. All right. If you have any more comments, put them in the chat. I did want to get to what else happened around San Diego sports this weekend. Let's start with the San Diego Loyal. So the San Diego Loyal, they were able to get a draw against Sacramento, who was the first place team in the USL Western Conference. They have one loss on the season. So we knew going in it was going to be a tough test for the Loyal. And I think it was less than 30 minutes into the match, Sacramento scored. But then Damas ended up tying it on a penalty kick, tied it 1-1. And the Loyal, they probably should have lost this match, to be honest, because Sacramento had a wide open shot. Kogi Vegas was back, by the way, after missing some games due to injury. He was back, and he came out front at one point, and so there was just defenders in goal, essentially. And obviously they can't use their hands, so Sacramento has the advantage, and Sacramento just missed the net, hit it over the top post. So that was a big scoring chance that Sacramento did not capitalize on. So the Loyal ended up drawing 1-1 in this match, and they probably have to be okay with that based on the fact that they probably should have lost if Sacramento would have capitalized on some of the opportunities, mainly that one that I just hit on right there, the opportunity there that they had. So now the San Diego Loyal, they sit at 6-4-4. And then their next match was a team that they just played on the road, San Antonio. That is going to be on Wednesday at 7 p.m. at Torero Stadium. And then I believe the Loyal, they're right back on the road. So they've had a tough stretch here of a lot of road games, and then they have a couple home, but then they're right back on the road. So you look at the standings right now, Loyal, they're in fourth place in the Western Conference at 22 points. Sacramento has a 7-point advantage after both clubs obviously took 1 point this past Friday. El Paso's second. San Antonio is third. They're 2 points ahead of the Loyal. So if the Loyal can beat San Antonio on Wednesday, they then jump ahead, obviously, of San Antonio. And the Loyal, obviously, they are in playoff position. So that's good there. And then the San Diego Wave, they also drew. They tied 0-0 with Racing Louisville. And this was kind of frustrating. I mean, so Alex Morgan, she didn't play. The World Cup's coming up. There's the Angel City match coming up on Saturday, which hopefully it gets sold out. I expect it to be a great atmosphere there. You can get your tickets online, the Waves website. I believe it's as low as $10 in the second deck. So go get your tickets there. That's on Saturday at 1 p.m. Morgan didn't play. There was that, the big match coming up, and you're facing a Racing Louisville team that you think you should be able to beat with the players that you have available, and they had their chances. I mean, Jaden Shaw, I thought she had a pretty good match. I know she missed some opportunities. Shaw had a shot high in the 69th minute. Colaprico had a shot late that was blocked. Sophia Jakobsen, she had a great pass to her by Shaw. I could watch Shaw I could watch her all day make passes. I mean, she is obviously the Doniak pass in Jersey against Gotham was tremendous. She's so good at that. She had a great pass to Jakobsen. Jakobsen did not capitalize on that late in the first half in stoppage time. So there was opportunities to come through, and they just didn't do it. The defense was good again. It was their fourth consecutive road shutout, and that's NWSL history right there. The first club ever. I thought it was just this season, but first club in NWSL history to have 4 consecutive road shutouts. Obviously, shutting out Louisville, they shut out Gotham, they shut out, I believe, Houston, they shut out Kansas City. So, yeah, and it's not just Caitlin Sheridan, by the way. I mean, she's the goalie, the last line of defense, but Germa, McNabb, Reel, Westfall, right? Like, you got to give props to the back line there, and even other players as well. But my point is, obviously, it's not just Caitlin Sheridan. Got to give the props to the other defenders as well. And it was interesting in this match. Like, Pogarch, she ended up playing attacking. She was an attacker a little bit. I think in the second half, most of the second half, I remember, she was attacking, which was interesting to be seeing because the Padre game was on at the same time. So I was kind of going through both, switching back and forth, and they're looking at both screens. I'm like, Pose attacking? Seriously? I don't have a problem with that. Like, she did score earlier this year, and Morgan not playing. Belle Barcenas wasn't on the field or anything like that. So, Casey Stoney, I'm not going to question her. I was just surprised to see it. That's all. We're at the halfway point of the Wave season, and right now They sit 6-3-2, 20 points, and they're near the top of the table. Let's look at the standings here. They're at the top of the table. So 20 points, them and Washington. Washington got a win as well this weekend. They got the win against Angel City, who the Wave now play coming up this next Saturday at Snapdragon. So 20 points between the two. The Wave, again, 6 wins, 2 draws, 3 losses. The Spirit, they don't have as many wins. They have 3 more draws. So they were able to make up that with 3 points with the 3 draws. They don't have as many losses. But both at 20. Portland, I believe they play tonight. So if they win, then they should be at the top of the table. Right? Oh, no. They lost today. Okay. 3-1. They lost to Orlando. Wow, that's an upset. They lost 3-1, so that's good. So, the Wave looks like at the end of this week here, they're going to be at the top of the table alongside Washington. And so Alex Morgan, she should be back for the Angel City match. I'm fully expecting that. And the defense is going to be a big part of it, obviously, because, I mean, that's a strong suit of theirs. I know, like Shaw, there's a lot of talent offensively. Sheridan, she's arguably the best keeper in the league. And they have Gurma, who is probably, if not the best, definitely one of the best defenders in the league, in the world, on the women's side. So that's a good couple pieces there at the back. And obviously they have the talent there in the front. So it's going to be a good match, with Angel City. Obviously, Alyssa Thompson, Julie Ertz, Didi Hericich in goal. There's talent there. And Cindy LaRue, I believe she just came back and scored. So that's going to be an entertaining match. Again, that's Saturday at 1 p.m. All right. Anything else in the chat? By the way, there's no updates on the MLS stuff. Oh, and Mexico, Cameroon, there was that friendly this weekend, and I wasn't watching it, but Mexico and Cameroon, they drew 2-2. Seemed like it was almost sold out. It wasn't fully sold out, but there was a ton of Mexico fans there, obviously, as you would expect. And that's just one of the many international friendlies going to be at Snapdragon this summer. Obviously, Man United, Wrexham. There's Gold. That's not a friendly, but Gold Cup coming as well, a semifinal there. And then Loyal playing Dortmund. Devin asks, will you talk about the financial stuff with Soto? What do you mean? Like his contract? Like Padres extension talks? They're not talking right now. Or at least we haven't heard of anything of them talking. And I don't think they should right now. Let's get over 500. Let's focus on the winning before we talk about the contracts. And, I mean, some don't want to believe AC, but what we've heard is they're not in the best financial spot right now. So, yeah, I don't think the extension talks are going to be heating up with the Padres and Juan Soto. All right, that's going to do it. Talking Friars episode 412. Thank you all for the support. As always, thank you for listening on the podcast platforms. Thank you for watching either live or on replay on YouTube. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not already and turn on the notifications so you don't miss when a video goes out. Don't miss when I go live so you can participate in these live shows. Reminder, use my code Talking Friars on SeatGeek for $20 off there. Click the link in the description for Breaking Tea, San Diego Sports Swag, Padres, Wave, Aztecs. I'll be back later in the week. Again, thank you all for the support. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all later.